Welcome to the Really Good Films podcast, where we look back at the films we've reviewed recently, but also look forward to what movies are coming to cinemas and streaming soon. The films we've covered recently all have their basis in truth. From the advent of a drug crisis in Pain Hustlers, to the founding of a unique restaurant in Nonnas, and last but not least, the relationship between an iconic musician and an actress. Varying massively in tone, these stories intrigue us with dramatic interpretations of life and are all unique in their own right. Excitingly, I have many more thoughts on these films to share with you, and that's before we examine some of the films coming next month. So, now we know what's coming up, let's start with our extended review of Pain Hustlers. Pain Hustlers tells the story of Liza, an ambitious single mum who is hired to work for a failing pharmaceutical company. Through determination, she catapults the company and herself into the high life, putting her in the middle of a criminal conspiracy. Pain Hustlers has an interesting story, and, on the whole, tells it in a polished manner. However, it struggles to balance its tone between its depiction of a slick and heartless world of pharmaceutical sales and the story of a single mum whose ambition sometimes overrides her conscience. It can also come across as a bit shallow, thanks to showy choices in storytelling and cinematography. Pain Hustlers does have its emotional moments, and is effective in showing how immoral the American pharmaceutical industry can be. What hurts the film is its habit of pausing the action to explain things, especially early on. This can be used effectively, but can also feel like a storytelling crutch. Triumphant montage sequences and black and white interview segments are overused as well, which is frustrating, as at points the latter would have been quite effective. It was an interesting choice to cast Emily Blunt as Liza, as the character is quite different to other roles I've seen her in. Luckily, she rises to the challenge, and Chris Evans also hands in a good performance. Ultimately, it's them that make the film work, alongside the fact that it is an inherently interesting story at its core. All in all, while the film may not be particularly memorable, it does enough right that most will find something to enjoy. And so, Pain Hustlers is an entertaining ride that is worth a watch, but perhaps only once. Now we move on to the lighter side of the true story genre with Nonnas. Let's jump in to our extended review. Nonnas tells the story of a man who, after losing his mother, risks everything to honour her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual grandmothers as chefs. Nonnas is comfort food in film form, warm, familiar, and enjoyable. It's not going to surprise you with its story, but the movie will entertain you with its fun characters who are all confidently played by a talented cast. Is the dialogue occasionally on the nose? Yes. Can some moments feel slightly forced? Also, yes. However, these are minor faults which don't spoil the overall experience of watching the movie. The film, in general, is well put together, which makes the multitude of cliches it contains easier to overlook. The movie's themes are sometimes emphasised in a less than subtle way, through repetition, but this isn't too grating. Writing-wise, the film is mostly solid, and thanks to its cast, any less than stellar lines are smoothed over, and the stronger moments in the narrative are played to great effect. Casting is great across the board, and the consistency of the film's performances deserves praise. In short, Nonnas is a sweet film that is worth a watch. As we move on to our last film, we transition from getting a food fix to getting our fill of the arts, and so it is time for our extended review of Maestro. Maestro follows the relationship of conductor-composer Leonard Bernstein and actress Felicia Montealegre Cohen-Bernstein. Maestro's approach to a biopic is unorthodox, focusing on the relationship between two people rather than on a single individual. It is as much about Felicia Montealegre as it is about Leonard Bernstein, and that should be appreciated before viewing. This is less of a warning and more of a setting of expectations, as some may see the title Maestro and the name Leonard Bernstein and think that this will be a pure exploration of his journey as a musician. While music does play a part in the film, some viewers will still feel it could have had even more prominence. In that regard, Bradley Cooper is impressive in his conducting sequences, and what music is to be had is extremely good. Both Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan give excellent performances, allowing us to truly immerse ourselves in this love story. It's not a cheery film, but handles its melancholy well, never becoming melodrama. The narrative has a good sense of balance, resulting in us feeling the film presents us with the story of this pair in a less judgmental fashion than otherwise could have been. The movie sees us jump across time to key stages of their relationship, and so is more about the evolution of this deep connection than the passage of time. Its time jumps are well handled, and so the audience is never left scrambling to keep up. This is not a film that's afraid to take risks with how it tells its story, and indeed what parts of its leads' lives it chooses to focus on, and for that it deserves praise, as it mostly pays off. Maestro is worth experiencing at least once, and so is worth a watch. Now that we've had a deeper look at the films we've reviewed this month, let's sample what's coming soon to streaming and cinemas. On the 3rd of October comes Him. The movie follows a young athlete who descends into a world of terror when he's invited to train with a legendary champion whose charisma curdles into something darker. Him looks like an intriguingly intense psychological horror based around the experience of a pro athlete. Particularly impressive and terrifying in equal measure is Marlon Wayans, whose sadistic champion character, even from our glimpse in the trailer, brings a shiver down your spine. If this film can live up to its trailer, we'll have a horror movie that will stay in the minds of viewers long after the credits roll. Also on the 3rd of October, we get Roofman, which tells the story of the rooftop robber Jeffrey Manchester and his time on the lam evading capture. Roofman looks like a fun, light-hearted film that gets the best out of its well-known faces, including Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst. While I do think the trailer gives too much away, it does effectively entice the audience with the film's seemingly quirky story. The movie is from Derek Cianfrance, who directed A Place Beyond the Pines and Blue Valentine, so we're in good hands. And so I am looking forward to checking it out as soon as I can. The 10th of October sees the release of Good Boy, which sees a loyal dog defend his owners from supernatural forces when his family move into a rural family home. The trailer for Good Boy gives little away, but does set up the film's biggest selling point, a horror movie from the perspective of a dog. A really great idea. A unique perspective and a succinct runtime have me very excited about this upcoming chiller. Pets are such an important part of people's lives, and so audiences will already be rooting for this film's fluffy protagonist before the film even starts. Let's hope we're in for a treat with this one. On the same day, we get Tron Ares, which sees a sophisticated program, Ares, sent from the digital world into the physical world on a dangerous mission. It's an interesting flip on the Tron formula, having elements of its world enter into the real world, and it has certainly piqued my interest. It's been a while since this franchise's last entry, Tron Legacy, a moderately satisfying sequel to the original. Visual spectacle is paramount here, so I'm hoping we get to enjoy this entry's virtual world in addition to its real-world action. A highlight of Tron Legacy was its Daft Punk soundtrack, and here's hoping Nine Inch Nails deliver some iconic tunes for this third film. Well, that concludes this episode of the Really Good Films podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want more from Really Good Films, don't forget to follow us on social media, and of course, subscribe to the podcast too, wherever you get your podcasts. We can't wait to review more films for you soon.